introductory comment, and we'll move on from there. So, Bill Meengs.
Thank you. I'm Bill Meengs Jr. Can't claim to be a native of Petoskey, but I was raised here. My family moved in 1975. I went all the way through the Petoskey school system. Started at Ottawa, went to the old high school, it was the middle school at that time, and then graduated in 1987. This has been my home really ever since 1975, other than years away for college and law school. And then my first 10 years of law practice I spent in Grand Rapids, Michigan. Moved back in 2005. Took a job with Plunkett Cooney for 2 years. Opened my own law practice after that. I did that for 5 years. And now I am the managing partner of Stroop Meengs PC, which is the oldest law firm in the Petoskey area. What really got me involved in running for county commission is pretty much what a lot of other people have said. I didn't like the news reports I've been seeing in the last 2 years. I didn't like some of the things that were going on that I was reading in the minutes of county board meetings. And, quite frankly, my wife and I would kind of sit around the dinner table complaining about these things, and, just kind of decided that I can either continue to complain about it or I can step up and do something about it. And that really kind of prompted me to throw my hat in the ring and run for office. It's the first time I've ever run for office, but I have been very involved in the community since I've been back. And I think I can do a very good job if given the opportunity.
Jon Terry, 2 minutes.
Excellent. Thank you to our sponsors for being here. Thank you, Charlie, for the refreshments. And thank each of you for staying through this and for coming tonight. It is very encouraging to be candidates and thinking about these issues, and just to have people show up and engage in this is very encouraging. So thank you for being here. When I launched my campaign back in March, I made a promise that I would focus on listening to people and finding ways that the county government can better serve them. So as I have knocked on about 350 doors so far, actually 360, I hit 10 on the way over here, I have that in the front of my mind. And I always start the conversation with, how can the county better serve you? And I just want to quickly tell you one story. On my second day of knocking, I knocked on a woman's door and she opened it, and the dogs were going crazy and her kids were going crazy. And when I asked her that question, she didn't have an answer. And so when I started rattling off the departments of the county and got to the jails and the courts, she said, actually, I volunteer with the women who have been in jail for drug offenses, and I think the county needs to do a better job serving them when they get out of jail. And I had 2 takeaways from that meeting. One is that people are good. And there are great and kind and generous people in Petoskey who give of themselves to others. And the second thing is that government is important. And people don't have the time to fix the system themselves and to make the system more effective. And they trust that the people they elect are going to be innovative and wise and be good with the money that they spend and the people they touch and the tax dollars they spend. So when we get to the questions, I'll talk a little more about what my goals are for the county, but I just wanted to start by just affirming that my desire is to listen to people and to find ways that the county government can better serve you. Thanks.
And Betsy White is our other candidate, and you get 2 minutes, Betsy.
Okay, I'm going to read my thing. Thanks for coming, and thanks for organizing this. Can you hear me?
As close as you can.
Okay. I have many of the same goals as the other challengers beside me tonight. To make finance info clear and timely, to seek input before taking on new projects and services, and to improve the county website to make it easier to find things. I don't know if you've tried to find anything on the website. It takes a long time, and there's no reason for that. I have 4 things that make me unique from my fellow challengers in District 7, which is Petoskey. I am the oldest person running. I have made the most mistakes of anyone up here. And I've learned the most lessons over everyone else standing up here. And I hope I have become wiser because of that. Number two, I have formal training and education that would do well on this new board, which would work well. At the undergraduate level, I have a secondary education major, a geology major, an accounting major, and a mathematics minor. I have a master's degree in social work, so I am a very good listener too. I think that's why I went into social work, because I like to listen. I enjoy hearing things from other people, and it makes me understand the world better when I listen. Number three, I have experience in accounting because I have done it for 40 years every day in my business. My job is to make sure that a budget is adhered to, and I have worked for and with the poor and see how hard it is to make a living in this county. Number four is the most important. I'm a woman. No woman has been on the board for at least 15 years. And we need new and creative ideas brought to the table.
All right, this time around we'll go John, Betsy, Bill in that order. And want to ask the question, Jeremy, just for a reminder?
The county's spending on a dark sky and EMS facilities has come under scrutiny. What suggestions do you have to better manage future resource allocation?
And it's a 1-minute response.
Got it. And regarding being a woman on a board, I completely agree with you, and that's why I'm supporting Tony Gerard. Regarding the Dark Sky Park, I went up and took a tour. Jim Tamlin, the chair of the board, gave me a tour of his facility about 2 weeks ago. And I told him, I got to wear a hard hat, it was awesome. And I told him at the end of that tour the same thing I'll tell you. This is going to be a gorgeous facility, and we can't afford it. And this is not a priority for our county. The two biggest things we need for future spending that will help control future spending are transparency and public engagement. If you went home tonight and wanted to know what our county budget was and went to your website, you could not find it. Other counties in Michigan and across the country have that. We should also put up on our website a list of all private contracts and the amount going to each private contract that the county funds. If I want to know how much the county has paid Edgewater Design this year, I have the right to know that. The county is using technology that they've used 100 years ago to promote information. We can do better than that.
You need the question repeated, Betsy.
The county's spending on the Dark Sky Park and EMS facilities has come under scrutiny. What suggestions do you have to better manage future resource allocation?
We could have built the Headlands for half the price. And I know that it's a very, very expensive building. It costs about $1,000 a square foot. You cannot find a building north of Grand Rapids that cost $1,000 a square foot. So they worked hard to make it a very, very special building. Also, I would close the Headlands for 5 months in the winter. I would keep it open 7 days a week, 5 days a week in May and September, so that schools, their science classes could come up and be taught about astronomy and the sky and nature, about hawks. There's lots of things that'll be, oh my goodness, that it will be used for. And with the EMS, there's going to have to be some big, big changes. It's just out of control, the spending.
And Bill, you need the question, or?
No, I
Okay.
So, as I'm going along, you know, everybody I hear wants to talk about EMS in the Dark Sky Park, and you know, I'm not happy with the amount of money that's being spent up there. But I will be honest with you, my big concern is when this new commission gets seated, I don't know that there's going to be much we're going to be able to do about that to scale back, because I think that ship will have sailed at that point. If there is an opportunity to scale back and save money, I am for doing that, as long as we can do it in a fiscally responsible way. I don't want to get into a situation where we're breaching contracts and having to, you know, pay litigation defenses on that sort of thing. So, you know, I'm looking at it, if there's a way to scale back and save money, I think we need to do that. But since we're likely going to have the ambulance system when we're gonna have the dark sky park, we need to market those things. We need to make sure that if we have an ambulance system, that that's a top quality system and it's running as efficiently as possible. And that's what I'm gonna, if I'm elected, that's what I'm gonna make sure.
Now we get to question 2. This time we'll go Betsy, Bill, John.
Okay. Should a plan to create a county transit system be placed before the voters? Why or why not?
Yes, and I think Scott said it the most succinctly, is that the voters need to vote. They just need to be heard, and it almost got on the ballot, and Les, who was at the FEET meeting, Charlie brought it up to put it on there, and he didn't. Yeah, it failed for a lack of second. He said that we didn't have the money for it. So there is a place for it. The tribe has a tremendous amount of money available. The state and the federal government do too. It will cost the county something, but it's amazing how much money is out there, and I think people need to see what the plan is for the budget of the transportation before it gets voted upon.
I'm on the record as being pro for public transportation. I do think there is a need in this county for that. I have a number of clients that are disabled that live out county that have no way to get into town for doctor's appointments, shopping, getting groceries without help from a family member or a friend to drive them. Also, the Community Foundation did a study not that long ago, and they found that in Emmet County, if you're working minimum wage for 40 hours a week, you can afford in your budget about $460 for rent. But in Emmet County, a 0-bedroom rental starts at like $540 a month. So you don't have affordable housing. You have to cut corners somewhere else. That's likely a car. So to me, the question is, what is the plan? It needs to make fiscal sense. And if there's one that does, if we could partner with Sheboygan and Charlevoix in some sort of an intergovernmental partnership that would expand the service into those counties, that could save money, I would certainly look at that and certainly put that on the ballot so the voters have a chance.
And John, same question.
Yeah, this is a great question because it's going to show a distinction between me and both the people beside me. And I want to be as clear as possible about this. And is that if your goal is to raise taxes and grow government spending, I am not your candidate. As someone who has been critical of this county government's ability to manage and spend money, I am not interested in giving them more money to manage and spend. I've gone to the FEET meetings, I actually pursued them. It would have been easy for me to avoid that meeting, but I don't think they've been treated well. I don't think the county has been honest with them about what they want to do, so I thought they deserved my honesty. And I told them, I think transportation, I think it is a problem. When I do knock on doors, I do hear it as a problem. I'm willing to work with them to fix it, but I'm not willing to raise taxes to do it. Raising taxes is the easiest thing for a government to do when it can't set priorities. So I'm willing to work with FEET and other organizations to fix transportation. I do not support raising taxes to do it.
All right, now we move to question 3, and this will be back to the Bill, John, Betsy rotation. Jeremy?
As you're knocking on doors, what are you hearing from constituents on what issues that are most important to them in Emmet County?
Yeah, it's been pretty much the same as you've been hearing from everybody else. It's fiscal responsibility, it's openness, transparency, it's public transportation, and, you know, while I think there is a need for public transportation, and I do think that we should have a chance to put that on the ballot and vote for it, I am cognizant of the fact that the city of Petoskey, which covers virtually the entire part of District 7, is going to be asking you in August for a 3/4 of a millage vote for emergency for public safety, fire trucks. So if we're talking public transportation, if we're talking about another 1/4 of a mill or a 1/3 of the mill, well, that's now you've added 1 full mill onto your property taxes. I am cognizant of that, and because of that, that's why I said I want to look at the fiscal what are the costs of public transportation? Does it make sense? Do we have a good plan? If we have a good plan, I'm fine putting that in front of the voters, and they can decide if they like it or they don't like it.
So, John?
Yep. 4 main things I keep hearing. I hate to say the first one because it's going to get a big head, but people keep telling me, tell Charlie McInnes to keep doing good work. So, Charlie, keep up the good work. Second of all, I keep people telling me, stop the spending. And some people are content with what it's being spent on, but how it's being spent, the extravagance of some of the EMS buildings, that's what they're concerned with. The third issue is just thanks for listening. It's been a long time since people have had someone come to the door from the county and say, how do you feel about this issue? How can the county better serve you? And I think the fourth just big issue is that life is hard for a lot of people. There's a lot of people still recovering from the recession, a lot of people that have not had a raise in a long time. So it's really just a lot of connecting with people about how it's hard to live here. And they're looking for someone who will listen to them and serve them.
And Betsy, do you need the question one more time?
Yes.
As you're knocking on doors, what are you hearing from constituents? What issues that are most important to them in Emmet County?
There's going to be a large turnout at this primary vote, at least larger. There's not much turnout in an August vote, but it's going to be larger than usual because people are really upset. They honestly now know what district they live in and where they're going to vote, and because they didn't know that before, they really didn't care enough to know. With public transportation, when I was with a group of people at a meet and greet, there was a physician who lives in Petoskey who's disabled. She's blind, and I think a lot of you know her. She was very, very serious about public transportation. She can't drive. She's a professional and she can't drive. There are a lot of disabled people around. I know you've noticed. And they need transportation. I don't know what that's going to look like, but it should be put on the ballot. Trust, big issue with trust. How could this possibly have happened? And it's all about money.
All right, thank you. Now we'll move into the closing comments, and this time we'll go John, Betsy, Bill on that. So you got 2 minutes this time, John.
Awesome, thank you. In my life, I have been blessed to have some amazing experience in government and politics. After growing up here and graduating from Calvin College, I took a Greyhound bus out to Washington, D.C. I got a job working for a Republican member of Congress from Michigan. And during the years that I worked for him, I was able to have lunch with the Speaker of the U.S. House. I got to shake hands with U.S. presidents. I wrote bills that became law. I got to be on the floor of the House when Congress debated policy and passed bills into law. While I'm privileged to have those experiences, I can say with sincerity that they would pale in comparison to the honor it would give me to serve Petoskey on the Emmet County Board of Commissioners. As a conservative, I feel local government is best positioned to serve and represent the people, and that local government is the best opportunity for democracy to work in its purest form. So I ask for this honor, and I ask for your vote on August 2nd. Thank you.
And Betsy, you get 2 minutes as well, closing comments.
Okay. There's 3 things that, as I was thinking about the changes I'd like to make in the county, I picked 3 things to talk about. Number 1, financial information will be easy to get, easy to understand, and will be published online and in the newspaper. Bill knows that a good lawyer knows how to make a very simple brief. A good money manager knows how to make the budget look simple. If you want to make it so you can understand it, make it complicated. The whole lot of little numbers in there. If a citizen has a question or concern, I will listen and help them get any information they want. I'm going to take one of the people whose door I knocked on. I'm going to take her to the FOIA place because she lives across the street from the county building and show her how to fill out a FOIA. We'll fill out the FOIA form together so that she'll get it mailed to her house. Number 2, the role of the advisory staff, which is the legal counsel, county controller, and the county administrator, will have to change. Its job will be, unlike now, to gather and report what we commissioners need to make informed, fair, and practical decisions. We need to spend only what money is available in the budget. And I'm not in favor of raising taxes either. I will change the way open meetings are run. When we challengers started asking questions at open meetings, the board made up a new set of rules. That the public could only make comments but not ask questions. That may not be against the law. It might be, but you would have to go down to Lansing to sue. But that is no way to interact with taxpayers. Assess the actual this is the most important. Assess actual financial condition, and please vote August 2nd. And the absentee ballots for you all or for District 7 are down at City Hall.
And Bill, you get to drive it home.
Thank you. So you've heard pretty much the same thing from a lot of us here tonight. Transparency, being fiscally responsible, handling money. So really what it comes down to is, what is a person's track record? You need to look at what are the candidates' track records. I have a history of managing budgets. I've managed the budget for my law firm for the past 11 years. Beyond that, I was a member of the board for Northern Michigan Hospital Foundation. I was the chair of the Deacons for Community Reformed Church for 3 years. I was the treasurer of the Emmet Charlevoix Bar Association for 5 years. I am the current treasurer for Northern Community Mediation. And I also am the chair of the City of Petoskey's Board of Review. I am very aware of what your property taxes are doing because I hear appeals every year. I have the track record of being able to balance a budget. That's what I will bring to you if I'm elected. Now, looking at county government, the county commission should operate very similar to like a charitable board or the city council. Their role is to set policy. It's the county administration, the employees, it's their job to carry out policy. We don't need to have all these committees and all these committee members. We can run county government much more efficiently than that. The commissioners should meet, set policy, and rely on county staff to carry that policy out. So I just ask that you look at our resumes, look at the track record of the candidates in front of you. I think I have the best resume or I wouldn't be running. But I want to represent you at the Emmet County Commission. My family has deep roots in this county. We care about this county. And I ask for your vote on August 2nd. Thank you to the sponsors and thank all of you for coming out tonight. This is a great turnout for a forum for a county commission race. Really, really encouraging.
Just a few thank yous, if you will. First of all, thanks to our candidates tonight. They all were respectful. They did a nice job, and thanks to all of you for being here. If you got one of our handy-dandy programs, you'll notice that we'll be back here in this room on July 19th to do a primary a forum again. This time we'll feature candidates for the U.S. Congress District 1 and the State House of Representatives District 107 races. And those candidates have been invited. Hopefully they will all be here on July 19th. And it's the same format, 6 to 7 p.m. meet and greet, 7 p.m. forum. So hope you can join us on the 19th. And if you want to circle your calendar farther down the road for the general election, we've already booked the room, October 12th for the general election. That will only feature state and federal races at that time, so that's for October 12th. So again, mark your calendars for that. I think Bill mentioned that City of Petoskey, if you're a resident of the City of Petoskey, on August 2nd in the primary, not telling you which way to vote either way, but just want to let you know that there is a ballot issue for 0.75 mils for 5 years, right, Kate? No, my glasses here. Get it adjusted, but 0.75 mils for 5 years to help the city purchase a new ladder truck and a new fire engine to to replace those that were purchased, I want to say 1984, if I remember correctly. So that will be on the ballot for city voters, and I have an information sheet from Stay Safe Petoskey on the back table if you're interested in that. Thank you to our co-host, the Chamber, and the News Review. Thank you so much. Emmet Association of Realtors, and thanks, Sherry, for being our timekeeper tonight. What a nice job you did. And of course, North Central Michigan College, and of course, the man of the hour, Dennis Kelly, who did the cookies for us tonight. Everybody just in the room, thank you, Dennis, for your sponsorship of that. Please help yourself to cookies on the way out. And again, thanks to all of you for coming. Don't forget to vote in the primary on August 2nd. So thank you.